All right. So we just came back from our New Year's performance camp in Tenerife. And I think it's fair to say it was absolutely amazing. We loved it. Swimmers loved it. Parents loved it. Great overall experience. A lot of PBs in training, which was crazy to see. And some of the improvement, I mean, we had a guy drop from a 33, 34 even in a 53 at the end of camp. You know what he went? And he was dead tired. He went 29-2 long course. So that's a 4-second improvement in a 53 in 10 days of training with the Swimpros. So we'll take it. He wasn't the only one. There's some people swimming PBs in the 200 free, just in 100 breaststroke, just across the board, amazing experience. And one of the things that makes Tenerife so awesome is they have, besides having a 50-meter pool, 10 lanes, right? They got a 25-meter pool. They have a gym and everything, but they also have the Flume channel, which is one of the best in Europe, and it's so big, it's a building in itself. And what would we do? There's these high-speed cameras that film. You can enter the speed, that the Flume channel generates without any wave. It's not like one of those things. People in Switzerland have these little channels in the backyard, but they're like shit compared to like that one. It's an actual, like, it's a big thing. If you Google it, top training Tenerife Flume channel, you'll see what I mean, right? And so and like Olympians, world record, they go in there to refine the technique. And so we have time there in the Flume channel, many hours every time on camp, and we film the kids. Now, that is an experience in itself, but then the more important part of that is, okay, we get to see the videos, we do a one-on-one analysis, so for the rest of the camp, we know what specifically we need to work on in terms of the technique. And then the next thing, right, we give them the videos. Every swimmer gets the videos, of course, but the technique work never stops. Okay, so we can do a lot of things on camp, and we always do, coupled with mobility, the mindset stuff, our core pillars. And if you're interested, just go on swimpros.com and you'll see what I mean. But we can do that much on camp, but then it's so important that the technique development continues when the swimmers are back home, right? And for some, it's very easy because the coaches are super excited when the kid comes or the swimmer comes. The oldest was at 21, so I can't say kid really. The swimmer comes, it's like, hey, I had this awesome opportunity to get video footage with high-speed cameras from all the best angles, where you see every air bubble, you see every wrong angle, you see everything, right? And the coaches are super excited, and they're like, yeah, of course, let's sit together. And then you can tell me what the guys, the Swimpros coaches told you. So that's a base, kind of baseline for the conversation. And then obviously the coach knows the swimmer and has for many months and years. And then they look at it together, and they'll know exactly, right, with our inputs, maybe even without, like, it doesn't really matter, but they will know exactly what they need to work on moving forward. And again, like, the thing about the Flume channel is when you have these high-speed videos, what happens is you see a million things that are not ideal or possibly even wrong. So to kind of not get overwhelmed and leave the Flume channel feeling like, oh my God, like my stroke is just shit, I don't even know how to swim it. They feel overwhelmed. There's a million construction sites that they need to like fix all at once, right? We just want to focus on the most important thing, the one thing that has the biggest effect on their stroke. And then once we know that, it becomes a mental thing. It becomes a focus, concentration thing, because all they have to do then is do that one thing, work on that one thing with all of their attention with every stroke that they take. Does that make sense? So that's the fastest way to develop their technique. But the problem is, what do you do if your coach is either not interested to see the videos, or says, yeah, we're going to watch it, and then doesn't? Or just straight up like says he doesn't have time, whatever the reason. But if the coach doesn't want to look at the videos, we're kind of in a dilemma. And I'm just gonna like put it to you straight, because again, I'm recording this for our camp swimmers because I promised them to give them some ideas and inspirations on how we dealt with that problem in the past, and that has worked for Swimpros swimmers. Because if your coach is not interested in your technique development and you've tried everything and he or she just doesn't give you feedback and training on technique and is not and is just giving you like superficial things or like, oh, just try harder and stuff like that, you need to switch coaches. That's the bad news. Because we can't really change people. Right? And you parents that are listening to this, you will know that it is a frustrating goal to try to change people. And so if you have a coach who just does not care about your technical development and you need it, which I would say every swimmer at every level needs technical development, just like mindset, by the way, it never stops. There's levels to this game, right? Then you have to either switch clubs, switch squads, but you have to find a coach where one of the pillars in the Swimpros Academy is to build an open communication channel to your coach. And when you look at Bob Bowman again, Texas, Michael Phelps, Leon Marchand, Summer McIntosh, Shane Cassis, Hubert Koch, all these world record holders, multiple Olympic champions, they talk about it. They are, in a way, a dream team. That doesn't mean that you're best friends and you're like, hey, bro, what's up? It's not like that. It's just that both sides can give feedback to each other and actually welcome the feedback, right? And if you have a coach who just does not want to have like any feedback, doesn't want to talk to you, doesn't want to give you advice and stuff, then you need to change. Because if you want to swim to your full potential, you need to develop your technique, right? And so that's the bad news. If there's nothing that you can do and you tried everything, right, and you're convinced about that, you need to switch, okay? It's as simple as that. I know it's a difficult conversation to have, and it's like, oh, you know, where am I going to go? Is it going to be better there and stuff, right? And then the best thing to do is just figure out, okay, what would work logistically for you and for your parents, like drive you around and stuff, or if you're taking a bus, train, like whatever, maybe car, and then go and do a trial. Go and meet the coaches. Go and meet the other swimmers, the team and stuff, and see what the vibe is. That is the best. Instead of like guessing, like, oh, I heard this story and that story, just go and see it for yourself. So I hope that makes sense. And we've, like, I could tell you so many stories just from 2025 of people who are stuck with their coach and their team. And then sometimes it was like even a toxic vibe inside of the team. And they switched clubs and everything changed, right? And they felt at home. It's like, some people, you know, some swimmers that come to us, they just don't feel comfortable being themselves when they're at home. And honestly, like that was the feedback. When I asked the swimmers at the end of the camp, I always try to do like a 10-minute one-to-one to kind of see, okay, how was the camp? What would you change? What did you love and stuff? And the feedback that I got the most is just that a lot of the swimmers don't feel comfortable being themselves when they're at home. And if they're not comfortable in their own skin, that's where all the blocks come from. That's where all the I'm not having fun, this is hard, like the doubts and stuff, that's where this is coming from. And then on camp, all of a sudden, people are supportive, the energy is good, the vibe is good, the coaching style is encouraging, and we pay them pay a lot of attention to what they're doing, what they're saying, we're observing, and then giving them our thoughts and like, right, and guide them a little bit, and they start to blossom like a beautiful flower, right? And so if you can't do that at home, it's like, I know it's a difficult thing and it might not be what you want to hear, but that is the conversation you need to have is like, am I in the right spot? Because if you're not, you need to change. If you can't change the team and you can't change the coach, you have to create the change, right? And it's difficult. I know, I get it. And there's risks to it. Yes, I get that. And what will other people think? And what about my friends? I get that. But you kind of have to figure out, okay, which one is more important to you? Like, how far do you want to go in swimming? And then if swimming is really important to you, you have to make hard decisions, right? So if you have a good coach, not a problem. If you have a coach or if there's a toxic vibe or anything like that, then my advice is to start looking into options and then go and trial at different places so that you can actually experience it, right? That's how they do it in America when they recruit for college, all the high schoolers or the swimmers from Europe, they can take, it used to be 5, what they call recruiting trips. You get to see the campus, you meet the team, the coaches, the weight room. Like you just get to like a tour for like 2.5 days or whatever of what it would be like to be at that college, at that university. And then you do that a couple of times, and then you have like 3, 4, 5 recruiting trips. And at the end, it's like, okay, this is where I want to go, right? And that makes sense. Now, we might not have 3, 4, 5 options, but there might be one. And chances are that if right now isn't good and you tried everything, chances are pretty good that the other club is going to be better, right? Because at least you have a fresh start and you can start to do things differently from the beginning, because sometimes it's really difficult to create change if you've been like stuck in a certain way and the coach sees you in a certain way because maybe you messed up in the past. Different reasons, but a fresh start isn't so bad. Okay, so good coach, not a problem. If the coach is really not good, not interested, I advise looking into options on how to move. And then the third case is when it's like kind of in between. So what you definitely don't want to do, because people have done that in the past, and I guess I've done that in the past too, not with my coach and stuff, but I have with my swimming coach, but that's a really long time ago. I was just thinking like, I'm probably still doing that, catching people at the wrong time. Right? So if you see in the body language how the coach drops into practice, is in a rush, and he's just not in a good mood, like don't go talk to him right there and then. But most coaches, there will be a time when they're like smiling and they're like happy, they're in a good mood, and that is going to get you exponentially better chances to have a good conversation with the coach than if he or she is in a bad mood. And that has nothing to do with you. The only thing that you can kind of influence there is that you read the body language, the tonality and the mood and the vibe that the coach is in, so that you time it right. And you can always go and like as you approach the coach, right, and you see, oh no, that's not it, then you just you just like turn around and do something else. But if you see it's a good time, you can go there confidently. And what I would suggest is just like, look, for a coach, a lot of the times coaches don't actually know what the swimmer's goals are. And that is not good. The coach needs to know, just like, by the way, Yul and I inside the Swimpros Academy, we need to know, and we're going to do that on Sunday, what your goals specifically are, because it's very difficult to help a swimmer if we don't actually know what their goal is. Make sense? And so a really good entry is to share what kind of goals that you have for those next 3 or 4 months, that next segment until the next taper meet, or maybe until the summer if you don't taper in April or May or whatever, right? And you like have it in writing and you show the coach that you're prepared, that you're proactive, what you can do. You can tell him like fun stories, things you've learned that you thought were amazing on camp, and just share that with the coach and then say, hey, this is similar to what we do. I really love it. You also you just express gratitude towards the coach. Open by being kind. On camp, Sophie, she never did it again because I think I made a mistake. Because Sophie, at the end of the first workout, she came to me and she shook my hand. And that was the first time, and I had to smile, not laugh, smile, because nobody's ever done that. But I think I put her off because she never did that again after. But I was like, oh, this is so cool, right? This is so cool. She shows me the respect and says, thank you for the practice. It's amazing. And it just came to me later when I was thinking about it. But in the moment, I think I put her off, and nobody's perfect, right? But expressing the things that you're grateful for, things that you love, things that make you better, things that really clicked for you because of your coach, is one of the best ways to kind of start a conversation. Does that make sense? It's always good to express the gratitude that you have towards the people who support you, right? The second thing is share your goals. Very important that coaches know what you're up to. And from a coaching perspective, there's nothing more attractive, not physically attractive. I mean, there's nothing more beautiful, again, not physically beautiful. This is bad word choice. But you know what I mean. When a swimmer comes and is curious about things, shares things. It is the mental training. When I left out one session, people were going to Rebecca and you. It was like, oh, when is David going to do the mental session? Like, I didn't want to miss anything. I was like, oh, this is so cool. They're actually showing a lot of interest, right? And that's one of the most beautiful things. And I'm going to be more likely to help these people and give more feedback because I know they're like really into it. Make sense? And I'm happy to sit longer for dinner and lunch and having a 30-minute conversation about a certain thing that is top of their mind, right? Where otherwise I might just like go and, have a nap or whatever, okay? So catch the coach at a good time. Always express your gratitude. Make sure that your coach knows the goals. And then you just go and say, coach, I had this awesome opportunity to get video footage in the Flume channel when I was in Tenerife. And it's really good quality videos from all kinds of angles. And we did that. It was fun and stuff. And a lot of it kind of aligns with what you have been telling me in the past. But then on video, I saw really well. Would you have like 10, 15 minutes with me and I could bring those videos? You tell me whenever, right? I'll come before practice, after practice, whatever works best for you. So we could look at that together and kind of, you could help me. You could support me in reaching my goals. And I see what he says or she, right? If you do it it's like very difficult for a coach to tell a 14-year-old or whatever, right? To be like, no. It's very difficult. You have to really be, not evil, but you have to be like really mean. And again, there's not one sentence that you can say, but I do think we're talking about an open communication channel to the coach. So that is not one sentence that you tell the coach once every year. It is like a relationship is something that is ongoing and that you can do with like big gestures and like gifts and stuff, but you can do it with like tiny little things all the time. You could just on your way out, right? I promise you, try that out. It's like on the way out, just as you're already going, it's like, hey coach, awesome workout, thanks a lot. And then leave, right? It's going to be difficult to feel negatively towards that swimmer as a coach. It's going to be very difficult. I'll just be, hey, glad you liked it. But then I know, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't do that. So if you can do these tiny little things and start to open up a little bit and make the step towards that, at some point, you're going to crack the coach's armor. I know, like everybody has an armor. Everybody's wearing like a mask and stuff. It's okay. We're human beings. But also what's true, everybody has a hole in the armor. And the most likely person to find it is going to be the swimmer. Not the parent, not me, not anybody from the outside. It's going to be the swimmer. And so if you don't hit it off, like if it doesn't work out right out of the gate, guess what? You're going to try again. Like if you're working on your starts and you're not nailing it the first time, then what do? You try again tomorrow. And then you still don't nail it. You try again the next day and the next day until it clicks. And then you have leveled up. Does that make sense? And then it's like, oh yeah, in this workout it clicked. But it clicked because you've done the reps in the trainings before, right? Super important. And that's how like relationships work. It's like you put money in a bank account with every kind, grateful, motivating, like good interaction that you have with that person. Okay, and then there's nothing you need to be afraid of. The worst thing that you can say is like, hey, I'm super busy, I can't. Right? So that's the 3 use cases. But then it's very important that you find a way, and we'll coach you on that in the academy this year, but it is very important that you find a way to communicate more with your coach so that you get more feedback from the coach that you need. You cannot coach yourself. It doesn't work. And unless your parent is like an Olympic swimmer and stuff and like actual really good coach. Also, your parents can't coach you on that. Right? I can't coach you on that because I don't see you in every workout. So you need the coach on your side. It's very important. And if it's already the case, good for you. If it is absolutely not the case and there's no chance of it happening, then you need to look at different options, different squat and different club. And then if you're somewhere in between, You make a decision to start building it, and I promise you it's going to be one of the most rewarding things you'll do for your development, because when you like your coach, when your coach likes you, right? It's like mutual. You are going to train better, and your technique is going to develop. You're going to enjoy it more, and you're just going to have an overall happier swimming journey, and you'll be faster. I guarantee it. And it's your responsibility. We can't ask the coach to change and to make the first moves and stuff. It's you. If you want something, you make it happen, right? If you find a way. If there's a will, there's a way. So do not delegate the responsibility to anybody else. It's you, okay? If you need my help, your parents' help, you can come and ask, right? I'm happy to help, but still, you're gonna have to do the relationship building, and there's no way around it. And if you can start to do that, even if you're a little afraid, or it's a little bit nerve-wracking, or it's a little bit uncomfortable or awkward, whatever, step into it, and do not step away from that challenge, but instead be courageous and lean into it and start doing it. And I promise you, it will become less awkward, and it will be like the most empowering thing you'll do, right? Relationship building. You see it on camp how easy it is. Okay, so just take that vibe and take that home. Be yourself, be kind, express gratitude, and just go for it, and then see what happens, right? And then after that, you reassess. Okay, what can I do different next time? And you go again if it didn't happen already, right? If you didn't get the yes, let's look at it. Okay, cool. Hope that was useful. We're gonna do the Swimpros news in a couple minutes. So see you.